Today I am here with Mary Lloyd. She is a medium, animal communicator. Personally, she speaks for animals and the earth, Gaia. I say she's a wonderful healer. Maybe that's not exactly how she presents herself, more aligned towards the mediumship skills. And we are going to talk about what is it like to channel spirit. Before we get into that, I want to say hi to all the Luminaires out there on our Facebook platform as well as our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for being here. We love you tremendously. I was going to say so much, but I don't think that word fit. It's tremendous. We'd like for you to participate in our chat today by putting your fingers to the keyboard and ask questions to Mary Lloyd and myself. We'd like to keep it around the realm of channeling, spirit communication, and asking questions. You finally have somebody who's going to sit there and be extremely honest with you and say, this is what my experience has been like. I hope you take advantage of this. There's not many platforms out there that provide this kind of conversation. And a lot of you who are already energy sensitives might be doing this yourself and not realizing exactly what you're getting into or what it is. Might be confused about your abilities, which would mean your intuitive abilities or your psychic abilities. There's so many words to describe these things today. So please, let's get into this and let's bring in Mary Lloyd. She's coming. There she is.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so glad to be here today. I mean, it's always wonderful to be with you, Jamie, but also to be here live with the Luminaires.
You are a Luminaire. We have tons of hellos from Tiffany, from Harrison Barr. Song Player says, hello, ladies.
Hello.
Regina. Hi, Regina in Alabama. Greetings from Arizona, says Dan. Liz says, good morning from Los Angeles. You guys are just rolling in from everywhere. Karen Land, I freaking love that. Makes me want to start some social media, just call it Jamie Land. Hi, Colleen. Colleen is here to help us post any links that we talk about and show up. And Cece made it. Hi, Lori. Okay, so Mary and I were talking right before getting on here and came up with some really good questions to kind of start the vibe as she's having a coughing fit. She's like, not yet. But we thought it would be great to talk about, when do you notice that you are channeling spirit, or when you started that practice of channeling? And also looking at the mental health balance of it, as well as how do you distinguish between channeling and self-talk? Because there's a fine line in that. And if you Luminaires are listening and you're here, love to hear how you are doing and if you channel spirit as well. She didn't cough once the whole time we were talking beforehand.
I know. That's just crazy. Anyway.
So,
apologies.
When did you first know that you were channeling spirit? How did you discover that?
When I was really aware of it, I mean, that awareness stayed. It just wasn't a fleeting kind of whoa moment, where it stayed and it built on that one experience onto another. Was I guess it's been about 6 years ago. And it was after the death of my mother and going through the grieving process. The experiences that I was used to growing up just became just amped up, I guess is the best way to say it. And the awareness that I was actually able to be a conduit, be a channel of what was going on, just really started to stick with me. And that those, like I said, those instances really built upon each other, and that just brought that awareness kind of to let it set in.
So this is when you get to a point, you mentioned the difference between getting those brief, like we call them aha moments sometimes, where your whole body or your head just turns on and goes, that's what's happening. And you get information and you're like, I didn't know that before. And now I know. And I don't know why I know, but it's all making sense. That's that aha moment. Versus you made a distinction of now I can tap into it and use it like an ability or use it to lean on. Is that the distinction that you're making between the two? You're
Gosh,
handling this so well.
yeah, it's funny because as you're asking the questions, you're tickling just one little spot in my throat,
Yep.
and I'm like, "Stop." Um, so yeah, it is being able to it's the awareness of switching it from being, um, a receptor of just, just kind of, having that general awareness that things are happening to becoming a conduit of it. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Um, and that's the biggest difference that I found is just um, well, there's a difference between learning how to hone in on being that channel or that conduit and just being that receptor. That's the awareness that I was building on. The aha moments I think are always um, they're always more there than what we how do I want to say
Like,
this?
recognize.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Acknowledge. Um, and so it's just turning that around from receiving those moments into doing something with those moments. So
We have Luminaires sharing that some of them are tapping into their channeling skills through meditation, through automatic writing. And I want to give a shout out to Lori Wambecki that's showering us with some financial love over on our YouTube platform. Thank you so much for that financial energy. And Cece says, I'm sending your throat Reiki. And then
thank you.
Ariel was saying, remember Maitland's energy update? She was like, the throat chakra is going to be tingling and tickling in January. Like, that's the knock at the door. Do you take that feeling as an example that way? Because I know I do.
Oh yes, absolutely, absolutely. It's funny because, like you said, it wasn't until we started this conversation
Like,
live that it just boom right
you
in.
weren't even going anything
Nope.
like that until the camera started. And
Yes.
I so love seeing this because it happens to me. And it's like, am I losing my mind? Am I making this up? I know I didn't have a tickle, an itch, a cough, phlegm, anything 2 minutes ago. But now when I'm about to teach or about to do something very important, it's like hell on wheels. You're like, what's going on? Thank you, Spirit.
Which trust in the moment. Um, some of the folks mentioned automatic writing, meditation. Um, yeah, those are tools that I've used, more automatic writing than meditation and just practicing with folks. And by folks, I sometimes I mean animals, not just people, folks. Um, but those are the tools that I've used also to kind of heighten and build on my awareness. Um, I think it's all of them are fun. If any of them um, piques your interest, I encourage you to dive in and try them out, practice them, whatever gets you
I'm
going.
I'm totally interrupting you. So
Please.
you say dive in. I love the
Mhm.
word. I'm standing right behind you. But when somebody's listening to that for the first time and you say dive in, where, Mary? Where? Where?
Thank you.
Suggestions?
In anywhere. So there's a lots of classes. We have a great community at the
Ah,
Center for Love and Light.
yes.
There's a lot of very specific classes, but there's also a lot of classes that build on to each other. I know, Jamie, you've had a number of uh, classes that build on to each other, with the chakras and whatnot. And I know that there's a number of other classes that are going on with a lot of the other experts there.
Okay, so classes is something to
Classes.
dive into. Can you think of any other things? Like when you're looking to expand yourself,
To be quite honest, for me,
putting you on the spot.
I I just go out into nature
Okay,
and sit down. I usually sit down with a piece of paper or a notebook, and sometimes I write, sometimes I don't. But that's one of those moments for me that layers that awareness.
I love that. And I would add another way to dive in if you don't even know where to begin, go receive some energy work.
Absolutely.
You know, you can sign up for a Reiki session, a pranic healing. You can just get around quantum healing. Emily First is a great quantum healing.
Mm.
Yeah, thank you, right? Um,
Yeah.
you can sign up for a reading. You know, even Mary does individual one on ones as well. You can find her at marylloydmedium.com.
Correct.
I'll type that in the chat thread in a second if Colleen's not on it. But go have an experience and let that be part of how you're diving in and getting closer to content if you're totally unaware of what content you want to get close to. Those are some, I guess, safer waters to play in.
And to that, it's whatever piques your interest, even if it's just the title of the class. Um, that's when you kind of dip your toe into.
I gotta post this when you say title of class because when I saw this, I just thought I must lose my mind. This is Mary Lloyd's open mic class. It's about animals, and it's a class over on the Center for Love and Light. Learn it live. The link is in the chat thread. But like when I see an image like this, my whole body goes, "What's happening? I gotta look at that. What's going on?" Like that calls to everything in me. And in this, I know that you're going to give a short message, and then you're going to allow people to ask their questions to Spirit directly.
Correct. I'll channel spirit questions on anything to do with your pets, um, health, wealth. Should I get another? You
Prosperity.
know, all of them.
Should I get another pet?
Another companion. Yes.
Oh, yes, another animal companion. Sorry. Pet to me means animal companion. I don't have that old school definition to it, but I do need to
Fair
share
enough.
words. Um, so, can I secretly confess something in a very public way where I know my husband's not watching?
Sure.
Oh my God. I have a rib out and laughing is miserable. So, Sunday, I'm going on a cat rescue mission. It's a feral colony here in Atlanta that's growing really big. And a group of us are going to get together and help in TNR. So,
Mhm.
trap and release, but we're going to get them spayed or neutered and get them medical treatments and stuff. But there is a pregnant one, and I signed up to host that pregnant cat if we trap her. So then I'll have kittens at the house, and then we'll hope to, adopt them all out and everything. I only have 3 indoor cats. Isn't there room for like 7 more?
They're little ones. They'll be little ones, so it's okay. It's okay.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad my husband's not on social media. He has no idea what's coming. He knows that I'm going to trap. He knows that I'm going to bring home one to help heal and spay or neuter and get them, cleaned, and then we're going to return it. But it possibly could turn into a different story. I'm just staying in the present. Fingers crossed. When you do this kind of work, like with channeling with spirit, does our friend Maitland ever pop in, say hi, or assist?
Oh yes, all
Yeah.
the time. She it's Miss Maitland to me. Um, and she will make sure that she shows up as usual. And she is always a welcomed guest um, in all of my sessions, and we definitely share the love of animals and whatnot. I can't thank her enough for being part of my work.
She's awesome.
She is.
Michelle Leah Murray is saying for her, that intuitive channeling thing, it just drops in. And yes, it's like an aha moment. And normally, after you're detaching from your thinking, you walk away and then it drops in as we try hard to then logically, oh, to, as then we try hard to logically get in the way. So that's how she sees it. She gets it, it drops in, and then her head tries to get in the way of it.
I agree with that. A lot of times my awareness that I did channel something is that my brain goes into overdrive trying to figure out what was just done, said, or why people are reacting to me in a certain way. And that's one of my clues that it I was doing, channeling at that moment, that I didn't have that presence that I normally would.
Yes. Even on our Facebook platform, Heather Lynn is mentioning lately she's starting to get like a wind blowing or fireworks in her right ear and
Mhm.
a lot of frog in the throat. And she agrees that yes, it's healing in the throat. Do you get other symptoms besides the scratch?
So I do get always get a tickle. Um, uh, Sometimes I'll get that where my whole body will just feel lighter or displaced, depending on what.
You like it?
what yeah. Don't go driving or try on shoes or roller skating.
Oh man, you just knocked off a third of my life. I'm kidding. I don't spend that much time on skates, but
But for me, also, it's changes in color in my vision.
oh
So I will get like where it's kind of like I have a full like glasses on, like blue sunglasses on or red sunglasses on, and it'll be just a full shading, and that'll creep into my vision. Um, Anywhere from an hour, several hours right before, whatnot, and then all of a sudden after whatever that event or channeling was, it's like the world's normal again.
how do you, and this was a question we talked about before, how do you distinguish the differences of this being attributed to channeling or working closely with spirit versus some internal, like, sickness? Maybe you're coming down with a cold and that's why the stuff is being weird, or you're feeling weird, or a mental imbalance, or self-talk, when we self-counsel to like everything's
Mhm.
okay. Like, how do you distinguish the difference? And can you?
Sometimes it's hard. Um, for me, it's always it's really hard to explain. It's um, it's like a piece of time or a piece of conversation that is almost disjointed from the whole conversation. S That's a very odd way to describe it, but let me try this again.
Okay.
Um, so as we're talking, I'm able to go back and think about our whole conversation. Um, I'm able to be in our conversation the whole time. It's one fluid, you know, action. Whereas when I'm channeling, it's like I get these little snippets in between that logically fit in there, but I don't remember the entrance or the exit of that snippet in my part of the conversation. Does that make sense?
I know what you're saying. Um, yes, that the it makes sense to me the last go round. It's not that you're losing consciousness, it just
Mhm,
doesn't maintain in your memory because you're shifting your frequencies
mhm,
into higher frequency. And often, when we're in an altered state of mind, such as higher frequency, we don't maintain a linear memory
yep.
because we're accessing future, present, past all at the same time.
Absolutely, absolutely. But I'm there, I'm present. I know that I was talking with Jamie Butler the whole time, but you may have a reaction on your face of, "What did you just say?" And I'm like, "I have not a clue." Um, and I've learned to just kind of accept that moment.
But when you're not like that,
Mhm.
and you're doing a lot of internal work, you then are able to say, this is me, Mary Lloyd, doing deep internal work. And maybe spirit is assisting or with, but I'm not channeling.
Correct. So when I'm doing more of the internal work, the self-talk, it, I'm like it's more of, Why did I say that? Why did that happen?" I go into those whys, and
Yes.
it's a different logical kind of processing.
Yeah, you have the awareness to ask questions about it.
Yep. And
Whereas,
to react to it.
yes, whereas when you're working with spirit, you don't. You're
Yep.
surfing it, you're riding it. There is no, let me stop this, or let me have the thought to stop this and ask for more, because it's all making sense. And correct me if this is not right for you, but this is how it is for me. It's all making sense because my entire being is a part of it. It's plugged into it somehow. And I'm getting communication, not just audio to ear to my brain. Like my body intelligence understands. My emotional intelligence totally gets it. Nobody needs to ask a freaking question. But then when I come out of it, when I remember little glitches, like there's sometimes if I'm channeling grace and then later on I'm thinking, oh, two birds in a wheelbarrow. And I'm like, where is that thought coming from? And I'm so confused.
Yep.
And sometimes I'll share it with Colleen and she'll go, oh, yeah, yeah, they talked about this and this is what it means. And I'm like, that makes no sense. She's like, no, 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 it made sense, but I'm lost. I need to ask questions. I'm no longer in that flow. I
Yeah.
retain it.
It's like having somebody, like I said, put those little snippets into your existence, into the interaction that you have with somebody, and then you go back and, catch that little snippet, and you kind of want to replay the whole process, and you're just like, "Well, how'd that get in there? Where's that coming from?" And it's like I said, it's kind of disjointed, but it's all perfectly, you know, synced together. It's just you don't have an awareness of how that moment got in there.
That is very true. I'm glancing, sorry, at our chat
Please.
thread, and Shannon Maley is like, Mary's classes. Here's where it is. She posted the links for you as well.
Thank you, Shannon.
And Pamela Warman is here. Hi, Pamela, the modern medicine woman, finding a community of people who share your interests and share. Like,
Absolutely.
that's incredible. Oh, there's some people out here who know that Emily first, sending her some big love, going, yes, she's amazing. Oh. Okay, I'm scrolling back down because, here we go. Don Crab. Is connection to spirit via meditation a prerequisition for channeling class? Well, we'll just say for learning trance channeling or
Yeah.
channeling. And she says, I'm still unable to connect. It's like I'm blocked. She feels as if she's tried everything. So her statement is, I have tried everything.
So sometimes, well, what I find with channeling, it is the getting out of the way. It's not trying, it's just being. And you can't force it. I go into channeling with a lot of, I won't say hesitation or fear, but um, worried anticipation sometimes because I don't know what's going on. And so instead of trying to channel or trying to do whatever in that moment, I just trust that it's going to happen. And so you'll hear me say that while you can do these other tools, these other practices to help you open up and get comfortable, whether it be meditation, auto writing, getting out in nature and grounding, or all the different, energy healing. While you can and should try those out, they don't have to be a prerequisite. It's the trust. It's the trusting that you can do it, that you will do it, and that you're safe. And you don't have to put a whole bunch of other layers on top of that.
I totally agree, especially the part where you're saying you don't go into it going, I'm going to channel, because even that's putting an expectation and a an energetic
Mhm.
structure,
Earlier.
yeah, like a binding around your experience that you're about to have, rather than saying, okay, I'm willing and I'm stepping into this experience and I'm laying down the platform. And this goes for meditation as well. If you say, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to meditate, you're already undermining the act of meditation. If
Absolutely.
you come in and say, this is my outcome and this is what I need and this is what I'm going for, because then I can check that box and say, I meditate every day and I'm still not communicating with spirit. It's allowing more space in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
We do talk about this in the approaching trance channeling class. If you're
Which
interested,
I highly recommend. Highly recommend.
that is very kind of you. Thank you. That's grassroots right there. She is not getting paid to say that. I love teaching it, but we do talk about how to let go of your expectations. And when you're saying it's not working, it means that you have an expectation of how it's supposed to work.
Yep.
And I'm hoping that in the series and in the class, it helps you understand how not to put the expectation on it. Which doesn't mean you're a loose goose.
No, and I love that approach. The the practices that you cover in that class help each individual find out the layers that work for them and give them the tools to, concentrate on one layer versus another because it resonates more with them. But it builds that awareness and builds that trust to be able to do that channeling or being more open to that channeling. So your awareness does um, become greater. It's happening. It's that embracing it, letting it be in the moment, and then having that awareness.
So this leads me into another thing I'm interested to hear from you is, when you're providing that trust for your channeling work, like how do you take care of yourself mentally? How do you take care of your mental body? Because when we're allowing other voices, entities, spirit, guides, gurus, other forms of intelligence, which as humans, I think we're very comfortable in the use of other. I
Mhm.
and other, the separatism thing, even though not necessarily the truth, we are all one, but the mental brain is indoctrinated so hardcore that other is not I, and now you're letting these voices come in. How do you maintain mental health?
I look at it as that's the only piece where I look at it as a job, where I am that conduit in the moment, but it is not my job to take on, take in whatever's coming through, or hold on onto it. It's just for that moment. And when I find myself kind of holding on to those pieces after a session or then I'm like, time out. I need to step away because I'm getting too mentally invested in either what's going on, the individuals involved, or the act itself. So it is kind of making sure that you're separate than the others. You can work with them. That can be part of the job that you're signing up to assist with, but you are not them and they are not you.
But you are, but you're not.
Yeah. Trust us.
No. Blindly. No, we're not asking you to blindly trust. But this is a great conversation to have because I think many people who are energy sensitive are very wary about you know, seeing somebody that does your work because, Mary, you look slightly crazy.
If that's the only thing that I'm crazy about, in this world, then okay. I'm good. Seriously. We get judgments upon us all the time. Um, and again, there's other people's judgments. It's our perspective. It's how we take care of ourselves, how we make sure that we are separate from, we're not carrying, holding on to whatever went on, that we become us, we are off the job kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, that is where we keep that mental health balance. Otherwise, you start to question yourself, and that's where you have to call a timeout. You have to, talk to uh, a trusted friend,
Mhm.
a counselor, therapist.
Life
Wh-
coach.
yes, all of them. You have to know how to take that time out and take care of yourself. But you cannot go to work or do this work day in and day out or each session by saying, well, I am going to become my work. I am going to be that. No, you're just doing that job for that moment, and you're a
Sure.
conduit. It is service.
Yeah. Man, this is one of the best chat threads. People offering their insights and how they get into this, how they work. But I love you guys so much. And I could easily be here for another 2 hours reading every single one out loud. We can have different conversations on all of it. Um, but you brought up something and it just floated out of my head. Now I remember it. Okay. When you were saying that you're of service, there's
Mhm.
a moment of priority in what I've witnessed in energy sensitive people who are here for the awakening or 3D to 5D, however you want to describe it. Here to do the work for people, here to be a channeler, here to raise vibes. And I've noticed what it is that some of us lose our way because we get into the higher frequency is better, to be of service, to be a voice for them is better than being me. Like we start to do that very human skill where we prioritize other people's needs or education, knowledge more than our own. And because we're comfortable with that, we just copy paste with spirit and we go, Spirit, you know everything and I do not. And so therefore you are more valuable and I'm going to prioritize what you say and follow you specifically. And we're missing the mark because we're copying and pasting this old doctrinated pattern and we're not saying, I chose to be human. I came to this body. I'm creating this. I am the creator. I am self prioritizing. I got to do the I first and the human thing
Mhm.
first because this is what I agreed to. This is the contract I need to maintain and keep. And then I could do everything with spirit.
Absolutely. It's yeah, why are you here? If you're only doing one thing or the other, why are you here? And why, I'm going to say this. I don't want to be like Jamie Butler. Jamie Butler's really cool,
Oh,
but I think I'm pretty cool too. And I've got some things to experience that's from my perspective that I'd love to share. I'd love to do things differently. And that goes to when I interact or channel Maitland, it's different
mm-hmm.
than when you do it. So be yourself. I mean, enjoy that you were here for a purpose. And that is the experience, the adventure of this existence. And there are moments where you can take um, moments of service and do the channeling, supporting others. But remember that you got a whole rest of your life. I mean, there's more hours in the days and more days for you to do your thing.
I love that. It's very true. To align yourself to be like somebody else or to idol is undermining you. That's not it. And I will throw out there maybe some bolder words. Mary, you can slap me if you need to. Um, if you find a guru or a teacher that is saying, walk my path and be like me to find the answers, she's doing it already.
Nope.
Um, that's not it.
Yeah.
And what you'll find on this channel and through Mary's work as well is self-empowering and wanting to empower you to get your answers, to find your growth and your truth and your experience.
Yeah. And that's you get a lot of people that are looking for answers. I'm not one to give answers. I will help you find answers.
Yeah.
I will help you discover where to look. But I am not going to be given answers.
I'm going to bust your bubble for a second because I've had work from Mary and Mary gave me freaking answers. So could we rework that to if they come through, you deliver, but the foundational element is that you do make sure that the person is in a position to find their own?
Absolutely. To that point, the answers that come through are not from me.
Ah, that's true.
I'm like, because I the awareness I just had was, oh yeah, I think I did work with Jamie, but I don't know what I gave her. So I'm going to trust whatever came through.
We have some questions I want to get to. Do you have time to hang a little bit more, Mary? Or
absolutely. If I love this group. I will be with this group as long as they're here with me.
All right. Edna Forel is asking, is there a specific difference between channeling and trance channeling? What do you think, Mary?
Different layers, different degrees. So trance channeling is a much deeper, full body, or can be full body experience. It's similar to the difference between walking and running. There's different paces. And so with channeling, you have different types of channeling, and it goes to different degrees. So trance channeling is just kind of more spirit, less you. Is that fair?
Yes, I like that. I'm not going to laugh at that. My rib is just done with me giggling today. I'm just holding my laughter back makes my eyes water. Just really funny to find that out. Katie Koppler is saying, I love that, the difference between walking and running. It's all forward motion. It's just a different frequency, different speeds.
Yeah. To that point, going back to how do you get to channeling? Mm-hmm. Well, you don't start running right away. Sometimes you have to get up and start walking and walk faster and practice, and then you find yourself running. So to think that you're going to channel just like that and be aware of it, that's where we talked about those layers, the energy healing, the automatic writing, the grounding, the whatever kind of draws you in.
Mm-hmm.
Take it on as a layer and just layer that awareness.
I like that. I like the approaching trance channeling the way Spirit put the classes together. Spirit put the classes together. And I've liked how they've done it that way. They make it sticky to where it's not elusive, to where you start to gain, kind of control, touch, or visceral experiences around it rather than this thing that's just going to be a one-off and happens.
Now, because it's all building your, so you can get comfortable in doing it.
Ooh, you glitched for me. It's all built on neuro.
It's all built on building awareness and not the act of actually doing it, because you can do it. So it's building your awareness that you can do it.
Do you know what that reminded me of? Something so unrelated, but
Oh,
when you're under anesthesia before you go to a surgery or whatever, and they move your body from table to table or hook you up, to clamps or ties to keep your body in a position, there's no resistance from your muscles. They can swing your leg all the way over, they can put your thigh on your face. You are just as limber as all get out. But the moment you wake up, not that limber anymore. I just want to
absolutely.
throw that out there. Why is that? Why do we hold the tension in our body? And so, this learning about a spiritual awakening and getting into talking to spirits and channeling is similar to that. You learn what your holding is and you start to address it so it becomes more elastic or obsolete.
Absolutely.
I was reading Mountain Man Medium here on YouTube with us. I truly love being at service, but I struggle with the ordained job. Like, I have to remind myself I'm here to be human. Yes. Mountain Man Medium, I would love for you to put your fingers to the keyboard again and let us know, what are some things that you do to remind yourself to be human? Mary, what do you do?
I go out. I go on adventures.
Ah,
I
say it again. I love that. I go on adventures. Oh my God, that's
yeah.
the best answer.
Yeah, I literally will get in the car or just walk out of the house, literally just walk out of the house and
Yeah.
pick a direction and just walk and then come back. I'll just like, okay, I'm done. Sometimes it's, 500 feet and sometimes it's 7 miles, literally. And I'm like, okay, well, that was kind of cool. I saw this, and I've done that all my life where I just pick up and go. Sometimes I'll go out for a walk at 11 o'clock at night, just go out the front door and start walking and come back. It's just my way to
Oh my God,
do
so
my adventure,
you do a walkabout.
pretty much.
That gets you back into nature, and that's what's getting you back in your body and helping you stay human.
Absolutely.
Okay, I get it. Um, for me, I love that. I like to get into the garden.
Oh,
I
yeah.
also like doing art and building. So getting into a project where I have to think about the creation of, it just helps me remind myself that we as humans are creators. Because
Mhm.
God, still, Mary, I will still get stuck in the thought of, well, work hours are between 8 and 5 p.m. And, don't take too long of a lunch break. Don't dilly dally. You'll be lazy and you need to keep going. And I forget that I'm the creator. I can change all of that. Who am I trying to please? If I'm here in this life, I'm trying to please self and to grow from self without stomping on all the flowers, with being in harmony with others. So I'll get into projects. Mountain Man shares, I ghost hunt, and I have an aerospace job that helps me keep grounded. Yes, please. Hey, Mountain Man Medium, if you ghost hunt, do you ever post anything? And if you do, where is that found? And nature reminds me, it says, oh, and nature.
Yes. I love it. Doing little things that feed our souls to remind us who we are. Um, that's what gives us the balance. That gives us the openness to be able to channel or work with spirit.
One last question that I'll ask you, because I could hold you all afternoon. Do you regret any of this kind of work that you've done, opening up to spirit and discovering your channeling abilities and being a translator for spirit? Is there any regret inside of it?
The only regret that I have, um, that's coming forward right now, is that I didn't open up sooner. I my awareness really came It's only been in the past 6 years, and I'm older. So there's a big chunk of my life that I feel like I've now missed out on doing this. So that's my only regret. But I have fun. I won't say that I'm learning new things because most of the things I don't remember. Um, but I love the interactions. These are situations that I would have never probably seen or put myself into otherwise. So that's kind of that adventure. I mean, going to another con, that's something that I never really thought of before in my life, and now it's like, well, why wouldn't I? And I know that there's reasons why that I'm going to be there and do things. So
Gosh, Mary, my greatest wish for you is that you truly look back and go, yep, best timing ever, even though it is a regret. How about we say we add on those years to your life? Eh? You just make it up.
I'm cool.
Just tack it on. Just be prepared to be here for a little while.
I'm good with that. I'm so good with that. I'm starting my next life.
Me too. I am so excited to be here for the long haul. Like, life is so good and interesting. Even the pain and the suffering and the unfavorables, it's still so intriguing to me. And as I'm getting older and more into higher frequency existence or knowledge, it just gets better and better. Just anyways, that's a topic for another day, Mary. I want
Keep
to
talking about
I want to post again your open mic that's on Saturday, right? Tomorrow?
tomorrow evening,
Mhm.
7:30 Eastern time on the Center for Love and Light at learnitlive.com.
Yep. And if you're a member, is this in the membership or no?
I don't believe this one is in the membership. It's $20, but I do have a class come this coming Tuesday. It's called Surprise in the New Year. It is part of the membership. It is at, let's see, that'll be 11 a.m. Eastern time on Tuesday. And it is talking about making memories. Don't go into the new year about looking for predictions or anything like that, or holding on, trying to see what predictions will or will not happen. Hey, let's just go and make memories because they'll stick around a whole lot longer than any prediction.
Let's be true to ourselves, huh?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, you don't have to be a member to the Center for Love and Light to get to any of the classes. You can buy them as a one off. Guys, it's a wonderful platform with incredible facilitators such as Mary and myself. Beyond that, is there anything that you would like to leave with our Luminaires before we say goodbye?
Come and visit me at my website, marylloydmedium.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. I'll be becoming more and more active here in a few months as I transition my life, and we'll just. I've got 55 more days of real life work, and we're done.
Yes.
So, but thank you all for being here and being part of this community. You all are what makes this community special and amazing. And thank you, Jamie, for all that you do.
Oh my gosh, Mary, you are so welcome. Thanks for being here and being open, honest, vulnerable. Like, that is a power beyond understanding. It's just, let's be here. Luminaires, if you love what you're hearing, research it. Just go for it. If you found anybody in the chat thread today, you're like, that was so interesting how they said that, what they did there, reach out to them. This is how we start building the community that you want to see yourself in. Give yourself the permission to follow through and research a little bit more and say yes. As long as your comfort level is protected and safe, say yes. That's a generalization right there, because there's sometimes you need to be out of your comfort zone to get things kicked into gear. But just trying to help you out and push you out of the nest a little bit. Take care, everybody. Remember, it's not woo woo, it's true.
True, true.